So users within Salesforce can be your employees within the organization or can be external partners as well. So in order to create a user, what you need to do is you go to the setup, click on users and click on new, and you need to fill up a few of the fields here. So let's give it a name. So let's call it the trail maker. The alias would be automatically selected and you can modify it. We'll give it an email address. So username is generally your email address, but you can modify it if need be. So in a Salesforce organization, the username has to be unique across all instances across the globe, right? So your username has to be unique and the email address can be same. So you can have access to multiple Salesforce instances using the same email address, but your username has to be unique. So this is a very important point to remember. Nickname is a random generated number. If you want to keep that number, you can keep it or remove it, and I'll call it the trail maker. Right? You can give title, company, department, division as per the requirement. Then comes the user license, profile, and roles. We haven't dig deeper into profiles, roles, and user licenses at the moment, but we'll give you a brief of how it impacts here. So you will have to give your user a user license and a profile. That's mandatory, and the role is also mandatory because it's marked as red. So the first thing is a user license. Let's talk about user licenses. Salesforce charges you per user, and there are multiple types of licenses which you can get your users to, and the cost of each license is different, which we have seen in editions and pricing video. So there is a Chatter external, Chatter free. You can have up to 5,000 Chatter free users in a Salesforce instance, and they can post on Chatter. Force.com free is another one. Then identity. The primarily ones you would work with would be Salesforce and Salesforce platform. So in your Trailhead instance, you would have 2 Salesforce licenses and 3 Salesforce platform licenses. With Salesforce license, you have a lot of permissions which you can control using profiles. For Salesforce platform, you get standard platform user, which has limited access and does not have access to everything that is there. We'll talk about roles. So role hierarchy. So role hierarchy is one of the options that you need to select while creating a user. So where in the role he sits within the organization. Roles are also part of a sharing concept, and we'll talk about that when we talk about sharing. But roles can be used to open up access and share the records within the organization. How it does, we'll talk about it later. But from user perspective, you need to give a role, a user license, and a profile. Right, I've given this user Salesforce license, and I'll give it a system administrator profile so that he has all the access, and I'll click save. So this would create a user in Salesforce, and it would be known as the trail maker. A very important thing, and this is a trick question as well. So here is an option to generate new password and notify users immediately. So you can uncheck this box. So this would actually create a user within Salesforce, but they would not get an email in their inbox. So technically the user would not know that their user has been created within Salesforce. You can use this to create a new password and send them an email as well. This could be another way, right? Also, as a trick question, when you create your sandboxes, when you create a sandbox from production, or you refresh a sandbox from production, your email address is automatically appended with invalid. So then what do you do is, for all the administrators and developers within your Salesforce team, you would have to update this email address to something which is actually that their email address. So what do? You remove this invalid from the end and just click generate new password and click save on their existing user which is there in Salesforce, and this will send out an email to them to update their password. That's how you create users in Salesforce. So user management. So user management is primarily how do you manage users. So there's a new user who has joined your organization, so you create a new user for them. There's somebody who has left the organization. So there are two options when somebody leaves the organization. You can either freeze them or deactivate them. You can uncheck this box. This would make them inactive, and then you can click save, and that's it. This user would not be able to log into Salesforce anymore. You cannot delete a user from Salesforce. So once you have created a user, you can never delete him. All you can do is just make him inactive or freeze him. You can freeze a user by clicking freeze and unfreeze. So till the time user is frozen, they would not be able to log in to Salesforce again, but you can unfreeze it at any point in time. The only difference between freezing a user and making him inactive is that while the user is frozen, they are still using your Salesforce license, so you are still paying for their license. The moment user become inactive, that license is available and you can use that license for some other user. If you have any questions, you can join the QA session, which happens every Friday 3 to 4 p.m. GMT, which is 7:30 to 8:30 IST. And please drop in your comments, feedback, and any questions in the comment section, and I'll get back to you.